welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show, Trayvon guitar extraordinaire, Gary Holt. Yeah, thank you for taking time. I know you're super busy.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Sorry for being late.
You broke the third wall, Gary. No, it's all
What's
good.
that?
I said you broke the third wall or fourth wall. I don't even know anymore. Um, but you were late because you're working on an album. So that's kind of the most exciting thing. Me being a fan, and let's just kind of hop into there. So new album, new vocalist, new year, new you. Like,
Yeah, right.
so let's talk. Let's start there. So where are we with the songwriting? Let's just talk with the album and how much was written, and is it you writing most of it, and then like Rob coming in the rest of the band? Where are we with the songwriting? Because things have changed over the years for you guys.
Yeah, well, Lee's working on his songs right now. We're kind of become like kind of like a thrash metal queen, like guys contribute their own songs. Well, out of me, Lee and I.
Like put your own
Songs
song, and then
become
you guys build off of each, and then everyone else kind of builds off it after type of
Leo
deal.
finishes completely fleshed out. Occasionally we'll combine some ideas together, but right now I'm useless for anything but songwriting because that's the only thing going on in my head. And but I'm in that lucky spot where I'm in a total roll and like
Right.
I have a trailer, I live in the country, so I have a trailer in the property that I built a little home studio in, and I'll go down and come out a few hours later with a song done, or at least fleshed out. And I've got 11 right now, and Lee's working on like 5 or 6, and I'm not done. We're like on a roll and the shit is crushing. It's really, really, really good. And everybody
So,
always says that, but I'm a metal fan before I'm a metal musician. And I write, we write the music that we want to hear as fans.
yeah.
It's what I
Well,
like, and if you're lucky, other people like it as well.
well, I mean, the thing is also, I mean, you want every album to be your best album at the time because that's where you're at the moment. You don't want to be writing your suckiest album and be putting the energy into it. You want to be your best because that's who you are. So it would be
Exactly.
silly not
I
to. I
mean,
mean,
you're always trying to top it. You're never creating the perfect record because then where do you have to go from there? Every album we do, I find something I could do differently, and that motivates me on to the next one. You never finish a record anyway. You just abandoned it. It's just kind of you have to let it go after a while and just move on.
wait a minute. You
Otherwise,
said
you'll be in
you
the
were telling
studio
me
for like a year.
you were telling me albums are like your kids, and now you're abandoning them. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know they're kids.
There's a child
No,
neglect
put it
there.
this way: they're kids, but they grow up and you kick them out of the
Hey,
house.
all
You
right,
know,
that's
you,
good.
you
That's fair.
abandon
That's
them
fair.
at 18, not at 8.
That's fair. What was interesting is because like obviously you've had different like Deep Purple, different versions, Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3 of Exodus, different, there's things and different singers. And regardless of who's sang for you guys have always had good vocals and it's never affected the band, you know. And to me it always feels like you always have somebody who's in charge. Whoever's singing for your band is almost kind of like a madman of the band. Like he's just got that crazy energy, you know. It's just
Well, that's part and parcel of being a front man, I guess.
I
You
know,
know,
but for
that,
you
that,
guys always have very strong personalities just across the board.
yeah, I mean, I think most frontmen in metal do. Like from all my friends, guys like Bobby Blitz, he's a total frontman, strong personality. He's awesome. He's a character, and like
Well, he is.
the rest of us are allowed to be a little normal, I guess, normal-ish.
Right.
Exodus are always a fucking band of lunatics anyway, especially in our youth. All 5 of us were certifiably insane. Um, but yeah, front man, it's a hard job being a front man. You don't have a guitar to hide behind. You're standing there exposed. You have a microphone in your hand, maybe a mic stand, maybe half a mic stand, but that's that's the extent of what you got to like hide behind, kind of. So it's hard, and like all the vocalists in Exodus have all contributed amazing shit. Bailoff
Hmm.
being the gold standard, and Zetro has done amazing work with the band, and so
Yeah.
has Rob. And people will say things like, well, this record is so heavy, or this era because of Rob. Like I write the songs the way I write them, regardless of who's fucking singing. It's like, you know, um,
Oh, so
Persona
you don't
non
actually write
grata
to the
wouldn't have
singer?
been any different.
You write the songs to just the songs. You don't write them to the singer.
Yeah, I don't write to the guy singing. I never have. Like
Oh, okay.
those songs on the last album would be the same if they were written for Paul if he was alive, or as they
Yep.
were written for Zetcho or written for Rob. The same goes for the Rob Dukes albums, like, I just write the songs that are in my head at that time.
It's there has been a consistency. I think when I first heard you guys, it wasn't Bond. It was the first cassette was cassette. Now get off my lawn. I had pleasures of the flesh was the first cassette I think I had of you guys, and then of course I think I had a copy of Bond and had to go back and get it. You know, the early days of cassettes. And obviously watching you as a guitar player grow over the years, your songwriting has been really fun as a fan. Because each year your playing's added like different subtle nuances, I think, into the songwriting over the years. And I think you'd probably agree with that, right? Your songwriting it's always been strong, but there's something as you continue on, it just gets a little bit more deeper and deeper and deeper as you age and your playing gets faster. I don't know how you're keeping up your speed at this point.
Me
It's gotta
neither.
be it's
You
gotta be a
know,
challenge at this point to
it is,
perform as you get older.
you get 60 years old, you're dealing with arthritis and your fingers hurt. And I had to go through personal therapy, for my elbows. I had chronic tennis elbow in both arms. I had so many cortisone injections I can't count. And I basically fried and shredded my tendons and I couldn't even play at all.
When
But
did that happen?
shortly after, what's that?
When did that happen? Because I'd heard an interview where you're talking about downpicking, and once again, it was a clickbait thing because they're like, Gary says James Hetfield's cheating on downpicking when it was really about it's the way to work around when you're playing and
We
you're
all
downpicking.
cheat. We're
I
fucking
don't know, I
60
know, but
years
but
old,
but the article, the
And I
article
always,
was a
I
clickbait thing
always
where it's
also
like,
say,
what I'm
I
saying
also
though.
say James is the undisputed GOAT. He's the greatest of
Oh
all
yeah,
time. And even
that
he cheats like,
that
look,
I don't even think it's cheating. My point is it felt like it was a clickbait thing, and when I went to listen to it, because I'm like, that doesn't sound like Gary. And then I listened to it. You're talking about everybody's dealing with this downpicking and the way of doing it. But what you said was you're talking about the injury, and I wasn't sure about the date on when you had that.
well, it was during Slayer before the
Mhm.
end. I just started developing some right elbow like pain. And then shortly after, the left elbow decided it wanted to join the party. And I got a cortisone injection. That was great for 6 months. And then fast forward, a couple of years of that, every 6 months getting a needle stuck in each elbow to keep it going.
You're right. Yeah.
And then I finally, it got so bad by the time I finished Persona non grata and after tracking the beatings will continue, that's when I kind of blew out the right one. And then I'd play and my elbows would lock up, like they'd almost get stuck. And I went
Yeah.
and got MRIs. And I have a friend who's a San Francisco Giants team hand surgeon, and he looked at my MRIs and said I look like someone who's been throwing 99-mile-an-hour fastballs for fucking their whole life, like
And
shredded,
you
like.
have. You
And
have.
it looked initially like I needed Tommy John surgery, where they fucking
Wow.
replace the cadaverous thing in there. But then he sent them to their elbow guy, and he said no, he can avoid surgery, but he needs never again cortisone shot and just physical therapy. So I did a lot of work with like 1 pound weights, and the
Mhm.
stuff, and I got back. Occasionally I'll get a little tender, but you put a bag of ice on it, don't put a needle in it.
Do you have to go back and do any exercises?
No, I keep stretching. You
Okay.
gotta like keep and do all this shit to stretch that fascia that runs
I,
through everything.
I think it's pretty funny they call it tennis elbow when they really should change the name to more like a heavy metal elbow. I mean, it's really
Yeah, yeah,
much
thrash
more
elbow.
tenuous playing thrash than tennis at this
And
point,
my
you know?
fingers, my left knuckles sometimes really hurt. It's getting old. We've been repetitive motion injuries, our whole lives, basically, and like in James is still the best ever. But
Oh.
you watch that middle down pick section in Sanitarium,
Hmm.
which is just brutal. And they add some chunks in there, and those chunks give you all the break you need to keep going. It's like it's a cheat. Doesn't mean he's not the best. It's just
No, no,
we
I
all
know that. I
cheat,
was just wanted
I
to
mean,
clear it out that it
I
wasn't
mean,
meant to be that way,
and
you
then
know?
I see guys today who are just like doing insane guitar shit, insane, like just different, whole new styles of rhythm playing. Like I just went and watched Psychroptic the other night,
Yeah.
and
I'm a
the
definitely
guy
with that.
was insane. The stuff
Really.
he was doing blew my mind. It's like wow, just so
Does
tight and just string skipping all over the place. It was fucking phenomenal.
Now, does that inspire you? Because I want to say, I know you're very open-minded. One of the things that was great is you did an interview one time, and you were talking about, you're like, yeah, I'd sing, You're an Angel from Madonna, which is really a deep cut, like off like one of the first albums, like when somebody else was writing your songs, and there's some really good songs off those first two albums, you know. But to that point that you knew that, so I imagine you're pretty open-minded for influences for songwriting too. Not that you want to copy a song,
Absolutely.
but are you
Absolutely.
absorbing everything? You know,
Yeah, absolutely. A musical sponge. We all are. That's the thing about Exodus as a whole is this whole band listens to a lot of different stuff. We're not just like listening to metal, and we never have been. And when we were writing those songs for Bonded by Blood, we were still listening to like Parliament, Funkadelic, and all this shit, and Earth, Wind, and
yeah.
Fire, and the stylistics, and classic rock, and all that. And for me, Prince, and Rick Hunold as well loves Prince, and that influence comes in from anywhere it comes. You just reach out and grab it.
It's actually funny. And I'll say this: the more I talk to certain artists, I've learned the people who listen to the most thrash are just the fans because the thrash artist or whatever genre it is listens to less to that genre because it's almost like you're taking a break from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you're a mechanic and you work
Yeah.
on cars all day. Do you want to come home and work on cars? No, do something else.
Not
Like
most of us.
my radio in my car is permanently on two stations: the local sports talk
Mhm.
and the local soft rock station. So yeah, I'm way more likely to be listening to, Adele than I am, you know, Slayer.
It's and it's funny because I'll have on, and I've done this before. Like I'll do Air Supply, and I'll do like Rain and Blood or something like
Dude,
that.
one
Like
of my
I
favorite tour posters I have right now, and I need to get it framed, is I have a signed to Slayer Air Supply poster because we played a venue that they were played in
yeah.
prior, like day before or something, and their production manager was friends with ours, and so they signed a poster. And of course, no one else wanted it, and I said,
No.
I fucking want it, give it.
Did you? So you didn't meet him? I've had them both on my show,
No, no, I didn't meet him, but
dude.
I
Two of
have
the
it. To
coolest
Slayer, much
guys,
love.
the coolest guys in the world. I literally said when I was younger, I said, you know that song? I said, like when you know a song but you don't know the title. I was really young. I said, I wrote this song and it was a bad song, and I call it Lost in Love. I go, but somehow I knew that title. I go and then I go, oh, it's you guys. And then he goes, yeah, that's the Lost in Love. There are no other Lost in Love songs. He goes, you could
my
have that too. I go,
my
no, no,
wife
no, no,
my
no, no.
wife's doing a lot of photography and concert photography. She's getting really
Yeah,
good at it. And she shot Air Supply recently, and she said they were fucking awesome.
hmm
That they're
they
so
are. They
good.
are.
But yeah, Carrie didn't want the poster. Tom didn't. I said, it's mine. Bam.
That's awesome. But I
Because it's
love
so
that.
sweet. I'll have to look it up and pull it out, 'cause the way they signed
Mhm.
it, to Slayer, much love and blah, 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 to Slayer, Air Supply
But here's the
post.
thing. They do, and I will say this note. The singer was supposed to Russell was supposed to actually do us a duet or sing with Halford at one point, but the album it didn't meet because the schedules didn't work. They were going to do a duet together.
No,
That would
that'd
have
be rad.
been so awesome, right?
Yeah, I'm a paying customer if that ever happens.
He's covered in
I
tattoos and stuff.
fucking
He's a really great guy.
yeah,
But so with that influence though, so the fact that you are that open and it's just something I enjoy, it does play back into your songwriting and your playing and stuff. You
totally,
know,
totally.
okay,
Beats, just beats alone, and stuff. You take the influence wherever you can get it, and like, but sometimes I have to remind myself, like some of the earliest era of Exodus was created because we were sponges for other metal. And sometimes you have
right.
to like tell yourself, it's not, there's nothing wrong with listening to metal and still being inspired by other bands,
Do you
because
feel
you
locked in
can.
though?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Do you feel locked in? People, there's like a slight delay just because we're not talking over each other. There's like a slight delay. Do you feel kind of locked in though with the
You
Exodus sound?
sometimes you start telling yourself things like, oh, I can't listen to other metal because, I don't want to be overly influenced by that. But you need to maintain that supply of influence from metal because when we were kids, that we got it from Judas Priest and Iron Maiden
Right.
and Motorhead and Discharge and all these other great bands. And so you don't want to stop,
No, but you are an
and there's
artist, right? I
yeah,
mean, you
and
are a creative.
there's nothing wrong with being influenced, by a newer generation of metal too. It's like when
Yeah,
I
but
wrote Exhibit A, the songs I wrote, Jack
right.
Gibson, our bass player, says, well, some of that shit's really dark because you were listening to a lot of black metal then, so hail Satan.
Holt awaits.
Yeah.
Actually, is there a? I'm gonna jump around some of these questions. Is there a favorite Slayer riff that you like? What's your funnest riff to play for
Um,
Slayer?
you know, song, it's always Hell Awaits. I love playing that because
Okay,
we tend to have set everything on fire. And it's fucking awesome.
Flight
Childhood
Stuff
me
is cool,
dreamt
right?
of
Yeah.
that shit. And riffs, I love playing the stuff off Show No Mercy. I love playing the Antichrist. It's like just so cool. Because me and Bailoff really, when that album came out, we were just like,
Yeah.
we got to meet these guys. They're the best thing ever. And that album really means a lot to me.
My high school yearbook says my favorite song was it says song. Everyone's got like Stairway to Heaven, or whatever. Mine is Slayer, Angel of Death.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's more. Yeah, that's my yearbook
Yeah.
song. So I imagine all the fun songs. So let's go back to like Exodus. Out of all the albums you've done, like it can be you wrote it or someone else wrote it. Like, what's your favorite fun riff to play out of Exodus?
Uh, that's an impossible question to answer. You get asked that a lot, sometimes it's something we haven't played
Yeah,
live in 20 years. I love Verbal Razors, but that song, I definitely have to cheat on that because that entire song is downpicked like crazy,
yeah.
and it's riffing out in the middle of all the downpicking, it's like it's really difficult, but I've developed good cheats over the years that work and it still sounds aggressive as fuck, without just being up, down, up, like that. But
I
Persona non grata, the title
yeah.
track, it's like one of my
Mhm.
favorite riffs. Ties your fingers in knots. We've never played it live yet. So maybe at
But
some point here.
it might be something that yeah, put in there. It's just fun. Like my thought is just like sometimes you play guitar and like you've never played a song and you're like for me, I've heard the Eagles got lots of good songs, but I just can't listen to them because I've heard them so much. But then when I started playing guitar, I started learning a song by the Eagles. I was like, oh, I get it. This is a really fun song to play.
It's
You know
some
what
of
I
the
mean?
greatest guitar playing ever on that stuff.
Exactly, but it re gave me a new version. You know what I mean? A new view of it, like new eyes. So I went back
Hmm.
into it again to learn it. So that's why I was asking. It's kind of fun to go into a song differently and backwards. Um, one of the things with you coming up, and actually, is you are also with everything you've done, is you have a book coming up too.
Yeah,
So in April 1st, you have it coming out. So
yeah. It's not an
this is
April
pretty funny.
1st gag. It's coming out April 1st. Yeah.
So writing a book, where did that start? Where do you think you're from to start that? I mean,
It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've lived an interesting life. I've had the highs and the lows. And unlike a lot of your rock books, a lot of them involve
mhm,
mass success and then some drug abuse and blah, blah, blah. They don't involve like just being out of music completely, and like,
right.
and then just being a full-fledged like drug addict. And then like the redemption arc is extreme in, my life story,
Right.
I've wanted to do it for a long time. And then I did a cover. We did a cover story with Decibel for the last album with Adam Tepedelen, and Adam hit me up
Hmm.
about it. And for me, half the battle is finding someone you're comfortable with, peeling the scab off, And I
I
was with
think
him.
so. Was it an editor thing? Like you guys sat down and you talked, you put out the stories, and then laid out together, and he would do some of the writing, or you would do
Yeah,
some of the
we
writing.
just talked, like, Exodus are a weird fucking bunch, right? And like I could relate, someone could say like a 3-word sentence to me and it will immediately lead to like a half-hour long story because we've given them these titles. So I just wrote down this whole list of 1, 2, 3 word little weird phrases that completely related to the story and sent them to Adam, and so he could just say, what about this? And oh, wait a minute, you're not going to believe it. Like, and I just went from the beginning on down.
Well, how long did it take you to get from beginning to end to do the process?
um we worked on it quite a lot, especially around my touring and stuff. I can't even remember the exact start date when we first started discussing my life, or whatever. But it was a long time, a lot of
Yeah.
material. There's a ton of like hilarious insanity based stories that didn't make the book that maybe, I might do a second, if this one does well, I might do a second book later that is just short stories, instead of a life story, because I've already
Right.
told that. But I mean, there's a treasure trove of just fucking insane tales, just drug fueled fucking psychosis that didn't make it.
I'm a big fan of rock biography, so I'm really, really, looking forward to it. There's a lot of people that used to be really I got a good bunch of people already talking about the book and haven't even heard it, read it yet. So that's pretty good. You got good buzz on it. I think part of it's based on the band and your reputation and the time period that you grew up in. Being one of the bigger bands at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like obviously I'm biased, but the book is really, really good. I mean, and I've read a lot of rock books and a lot of, man, that's cool, like this book's really fucking good, like, and friends in the industry, other
Mm.
musicians I've sent it to, they wrote me back, said it's beautiful. It's fucking amazing. And, fucking one very good friend of mine will call me back half in tears. Like, this is our life, dude. Fucking, it's just so awesome. And I wanted it to be emotional. I wanted it to be funny. I wanted, like, I wanted it to make you cringe when you like
Oh,
hear some of the stuff, like just skin crawl, like, oh, you know, but it's
yeah.
different. It's different than your average book. I'm not, I don't waste any time, spilling dirt on anybody really but myself, like, it's not a tell-all, it's a Gary Holt
Yeah.
tell-all.
No, but you can tell the story without putting people down. I think a lot of artists are like that. You'll
Yeah,
get a few
exactly.
that put the
There's
dirt
no
out
reason
there.
putting me down. We're survivors, all of us, and like,
Mhm.
as far as Exodus goes, and I think that's one of the reasons why we still make savage records. We're completely unsatisfied, we feel completely unappreciated, and we carry a massive chip on our shoulders because of it. And so yeah, we're still beating the shit out of ourselves playing 20 times faster than we did at 25 years old. I mean, if you want to clock the beats per minute, it's ridiculous.
Well, it
Like,
feels like you've always been like a day late and a dollar short. Not on your terms. It's just like the release from the very first album. The hold up when everything kind of
yeah,
came out. It's
yeah,
like they're holding you back, and you're like, "We're ready to go. Put us in the game." And you're like, they're just holding it. And then the album came out, the classic, but you're already trying to catch up to everybody else. So it's like you're always in that
exactly.
spot.
I mean, one of the two first thrash bands on earth was not one of the first two to put a record out. But I've never in my life spent any effort wasting energy on what could have been, should
No,
have
no,
been.
but I'm
I've,
saying you guys have been chasing that I not say the attention, but more of the being noticed. You guys have the credentials, like people in the metal world, you guys have it, but other
yeah, I
people
mean,
didn't
we
really
stomped the
notice who
shit
you
out of
guys were.
people.
Oh yeah. Well,
you
a lot of
know,
bands don't
and
play with you because you guys are so
and
violent.
dude, I mean, I've not made the job easy for myself because I insist on going out on stage and doing what I do and doing it harder than ever at 60 years old. I'm not allowing myself to slow down, even though I do. I'm not going to lie. I feel my body
Right.
sometimes tell me, like, slow down. When we played, was it over a year and a half ago or something? We played that Blue Ridge Rock Festival,
Yeah.
and that was our first show in like 6 months. And I went out there and I fucked my neck up so bad. I had to go get MRIs and shit.
Really.
I thought it was my turn for spinal surgery. I couldn't turn my head for fucking months. I had to
Wow.
go physical therapy with these people working on my shit. I was driving and like change lanes and I got to turn my whole body, and that
Oh, it's
lasted a
awful.
long time. It took almost a year to get back to normal. So now I have to listen to my body a little bit, like going on stage. If I feel like headbanging and my neck kind of tells me something weird going on at that very moment,
Yeah.
just I have to take it a little easy. I don't
Yeah, I
want
wouldn't
to.
headbang. No
I
one
don't
needs to
want to go
headbang
into the
anymore.
knife, but I have to fucking headbang. Like I have to do it. It's just
You
not
stretch then before you
possible
do it. You
not
got
to
to
do it.
stretch.
Just find a way to around it. Like, like I see other bands and like playing the best riff ever, and there's fucking
Hmm.
virtually staring at their shoes. Like I don't know how they do that.
Well, yeah, you don't have to stand there, but I'm saying it's kind of a change. I think when you switch, you are busy, and that's always the kind of the question. It's been a surprise, and I think I was happy. for you, sad because what happened with Jeff, because we all loved him. But to see you get almost like elevated a little bit up financially, everyone knows, and a little more recognition on a bigger stage, literally on a bigger stage with Slayer, and it brought Exodus back into the light a little more than maybe it had gotten. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. I mean, it doesn't hurt, to
No,
like, doesn't, I'm once again not gonna lie, it doesn't hurt stature to have played on a headlining stage at Madison Square Garden.
no.
Sold out.
Why would you not?
Of course,
You're a musician. Why would you not? That's
and
crazy.
and everything feeds off that. Like I'm far from rich. I'm not even slightly rich. I'm not. I don't think you'd call me hood rich. Like, but like my status means I sell more fucking Kill the Kardashian t-shirts,
Right.
which
But
I pack and ship all of them myself. I don't hire anybody else. I've had people go, wow, does your team ship out the shit? No, I'm doing it. Look here. Here's a Here's poly mailers right here at my feet. Here's a rocker patches. I'm in my office. I'm surrounded by fucking merchandise. And like I do it myself, and it keeps the bills paid.
it does, and I mean, why pay for somebody else to do it too? Like for the most part, a lot of people, a lot of musicians now, they do everything themselves because why pay somebody else? You guys have been screwed over for so many
Why
years.
why would I do why would I do that? It's like when I'm home, I've got nothing else to do other than write. But you get up in the morning and and go about your day. But yeah, your status raised, and I'm sure it helped the band in some way as well. But the band's also making sick records, like
Well, but now it helped bring more attention to hear these sick records because you can make these records, but if other fans that weren't going, oh, Gary Holt, like, is this guy Slayer? He's actually an Exodus. You know what I mean? Oh, what's that
yeah,
band? It's a good rabbit hole, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
You know,
it's definitely a good rabbit hole. I've had people say, well, that's why you have so many fucking social media followers. And I say, no, because I know a lot of guys in bands way bigger than me who have less, but I'm pretty good at creating a caption. Like,
right? You are.
it's and who knows how many are bot accounts anyway. Fucking, but
The,
you
that's
know,
actually a side note. So the Kill the Kardashian shirt is kind of weird. What kind of blowback did you get from doing that? Because it is weird times. To put a weird message out there. Not everyone gets how tongue in cheek it is, and everyone's so
yeah, I mean
nowadays
it's
everybody's a bunch of
stupid, it's
crybabies.
dumb. It's
Oh,
dumb,
it
and
is.
a shirt was made for me by a friend, and then everybody wanted one. And the only blowback we ever got was on eBay, and eBay kicked all my products off the store. That's where I used to sell them. But it was
Oh,
the best
really?
thing that ever happened because it made me open up my own store. Although all the bootlegs, even the ones on eBay that showed a picture of me wearing it, claiming it's the same shirt, they were allowed to continue selling, just not me. Um, so but branched off. That's the classic.
That's tough.
That's the OG shirt. But I've got multiple others now, and it's like you have to fucking hustle to make a living as a musician. Even a guy like me who's about to celebrate the 40th anniversary of his debut album has to fucking hustle.
Well, I always like to bring up to attention on this show. That's kind of how the show started. Was during COVID and bands needing the income, check the merch, go on. So actually, as we talk about this, people go check out Gary's merch, get it. Where can they go to get all your merch stuff? Because I want people to check out your book, get the merch. Where can we send people?
Well, the merch is at holtawaits.bigcartel.com. The book, you can get the signed editions at Premier Collectibles. You can pre-order from Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. We're
Okay.
working on translations and stuff like that right now. And we're about to announce that anybody who orders or has already ordered a signed edition enters to win a Gary Holt LTD Flying V, which is
Nice.
killer, and some smaller prizes too. But yeah, you can win a fucking guitar. And I made sure that it's backdated because I was like, well, that's kind of not fair to the people who ran out and bought an autographed version
That's
immediately,
very cool. That's very cool because a lot
and
of places
that
don't do
they're
that.
not entered to win it. That's not fair. They're the ones who said I'm buying it right now because you're rewarding the ones who might not have bought it except for the opportunity to
Right.
win something. So like anybody who bought that is entered. And
Very cool.
it's cool. The book is fucking great. I mean,
So
I wanted it to be special. That's why, I waited a long time to do it. It's like, and the time is right. Like, God, this shit I've been through. buried
Is
band members. My drummer survived cancer.
yeah,
Fucking,
right.
we all survived methamphetamine and and back at it again. So I'm super lucky. I'm fortunate.
The Exodus story is pretty intense, and if I'm doing something, I'm prepared for something. Every time for fun, I like to go back and I go to Wikipedia and I'll look at the album list or whatever. But looking at the page of like breakups back together again, this person, this version here, this happened, the record label. It's an adventure. Just looking at you guys on a small version of whoever wrote that,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
to
mean,
and been following you all these years as somebody I've it didn't seem as much growing up and listening to you all my life. But then looking at that, like
yeah.
that seems like a total different, like a Bravo special, like the Housewives or something. Like it just seems like
Yeah.
I'm like that's a lot of drama going on there. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of drama in this
And I
band.
think
I
back to
mean,
the videos you guys have done. I go, oh yeah, I kind of see that now. I wasn't
and
looking at it like
I
that.
fucking hate drama. I hate change. I'm stuck in my ways. I don't fucking like changing nothing. You release the greatest hits album. Is that considered your albums having children?
It could be. Well, actually, your grandchild would probably be what's the. I always talk of you. Let There Be Blood might be considered like a grandchild album from you. You know,
Yeah, that's an unwanted grandchild.
what is the thought on that one? I know so like
Illegitimate as fuck. And I'm the first
some
to say
people
it.
didn't like it, some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people were offended. I
Look,
think
these days I'm being perfectly honest about Let There Be Blood. We were struggling, poor musicians, broke as fuck. And we were like, all right, if you guys do this, and we did it not even through, we could have made more money putting it out through Nuclear Blast. But
yeah.
we had a friend who started labeling, I own a recording studio, you do the album. You guys literally, we made like maybe a couple $1,000s each. So, but it kept me from fucking losing my home. Like that's how
Mhm.
bad it was. And that was an album done by a bunch of struggling musicians trying to keep themselves in music, like, so yeah, we did it. Whether you like
There's
it or
nothing
not,
wrong with it.
there's
No,
nothing wrong with it, but we did it so that we could continue and still be here now.
well, I listened to it. I actually like it, and because like I said, I don't take it all the drama, all the singers. I still enjoy all the singers. Just some of your singers, if Life is a coloring book, they color out of the line sometimes. But I think maybe some people were like, well, if you'd done an album, maybe if it was, Rob wasn't singing it because if you did a remake of the album, if you took the original vocals and you guys put all your stuff in it and produced it, it would have been more
Mhm.
authentic. But to your point, you wouldn't have gotten the same money for it. I mean, and this was the band you were in at the time.
Yeah, my original goal anyway was not to us to play a single song on it. I just wanted other bands to cover these 9 songs
Oh,
because
that would
I
be
thought
cool.
Bailoff deserved a fucking tribute. It's a fucking legend. And but then you got to pay studio time for 9 different bands to go in the studio and record it. And once again, we're doing this on our own, and
Mhm.
we had no money. Like you go out on tour and come home and hope you paid your bills until the next tour. Like hope. I sold a lot of guitars over that era. To like
That's hard. That's hard.
pay
Selling
my
a
bills.
guitar.
And I've been lucky enough that in recent years I've been able to buy a couple back.
That's pretty good. You've actually been created a bunch of guitars too in your own lines. You know, with are you how active are you in that in the guitar design at this point?
Oh, very. Like all my guitar signature models are, you know, I mean, you take an existing body style, but as far as the stylistic points and
Mhm.
the wood choices and all that, those are all me. It's like I know what I want in a guitar. And then the custom builds, are like I go crazy. And fortunately, ESP never tells me to fuck off, Like, you know,
They look beautiful. I've never played one myself, to be honest, but they look beautiful visually, and I've heard good things about the tone and stuff.
they're
Um,
amazing. They're the best guitars in the world. There's nothing close.
are you a tube guy or digital modular guy? Like, what
I'm
do
a
you?
tube amp guy primarily, but I do use modelers when I fly in for shows. Like I can go to South America on tour and I'll have killer tone everywhere,
Mhm.
not dependent on whatever bad old tube amp they provide as a rental, that the tubes are maybe 3 years overdue for
Yep.
changing. I traveled with the Quad Cortex prior to that, with the Kemper. And now I have like the Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700 little
Mhm.
power amp. So I run everything but the cabinet cabs itself fly in, a carry-on with me, a little rolling pelican. It's awesome.
which is great. People don't realize
Yeah,
that,
it's like my tone and all my presets are all with me, and I don't go into those kind of shows worried about what kind of gear I'm going to get.
which
I
is
used
good.
to
I don't.
fly to South America with like 4 different overdrives, just because I never knew what head was there. And like, all right, I need a tube screamer for this one. I need a super overdrive for the other. I need both like to make the amp good. You never knew, but now I don't have to do that.
And people don't realize that, and they say that when you guys go to a gig like that, you fly out, and part of the deal, the contract is that they're getting the gear for you. You don't know where you're getting the gear from. You don't know if it's been serviced, how bad it is. There's been times I think bands oh, their gear sounded bad. They didn't sound like they did. Usually it's bad gear that you guys have gotten, that any bands have gotten, that wasn't yours prior, and you just trying to get through the gig. Like, I don't think people
Yeah,
realize
totally.
the back
The
line you
tone
guys are not paying
sucks, and
for.
so it's making it hard to play. And
Right, which is a
but now
challenge that you
I
guys
can
do.
go. I can go to Guatemala and fucking know my shit's crunchy as fuck. So it's all good.
Well, that's been a good thing. But as a guitarist, people always do that tube digital thing. And to me, and some people are slippery slope. To me, I think it's great because if you can do what you want to do in a tube, it's fine. But the freedom of a traveling and touring musician, man, digital just allows you to be you without the aggravation and being a slave to, the environment.
Yeah, but I still run my modelers into cabs. I don't run them direct. I don't run in ears. I need speaker interaction, microphone interaction. I
Oh,
need to
really?
get feedback whenever the fuck I want it, and I need volume. So I treat the quad as my preamp. That's what it's like. I'm traveling with the preamp, and then I'm power amping the thing either into my Seymour or into like the effects return of like
Right.
Marshall or something.
But it allows you a lot more control for your sound, though, regardless of what you get to put it into, though.
Yeah,
So,
it's killer. It's killer. It's
I mean,
awesome.
following you through years, you have been much of a pedal guy. You know,
I
it's
love
been
stomp
enjoyable.
boxes.
I know. And just watching you through the years, though, and anytime you guys a chance to have any kind of pedal, actually, it seems like you're always just playing with a pedal and
No,
playing with a
I love
tone
it. It's like
on each album.
fucking. I'm a tone chaser. I'm constantly trying to find sounds. Like some guys don't. Some guys are like, this is my sound, and I'm never gonna play with it. And like, I'm always searching for that elusive missing frequency. And stomp boxes are they can do cool things to your sound. Like it's awesome. Have fun with it.
It's like a paintbrush. I think pedals are like paintbrushes. Some people just want to do it
Totally.
in certain colors. Some people just want different colors for their things. And if you had to pick one pedal, what would you pick?
What one that I have to have?
Yeah, one go-to pedal. House is on fire. Gotta grab a guitar. Gotta grab a pedal.
Um,
What are you doing?
House is on fire. I got to grab a pedal. I'm gonna grab
Everyone's
like
safe in your
one
family
of my
too. First,
parametric mid boosts, which
yeah.
I've run in some fashion or another in front of my amp at all times. Just to give it a little bit of that wall pedally attack. It's
Hmm.
awesome. That's my secret sauce.
What about guitar?
Guitar. If it's sitting in the house, I'm grabbing my red sticker Jackson, the Toxic Waltz video shoot guitar. I'm taking that. That's one that
Yeah,
I sold years ago, and when I was
yeah.
broke, and I managed to buy it back for no increase in cost from a good friend of mine. Because he knew it meant so much to me, and I sold it because I couldn't pay my rent. Like sold fucking my most prized guitar. Because I needed money. Shit happens.
That's a good friend to sell it back, and it's almost like a loan.
Yeah,
Consignment.
yeah. Long-term interest-free loan is what it was like.
It's a good friend. That song is was such a good song at the time. I mean, it still is now. But I mean, I just remember like anytime someone started doing that song, impromptu mosh in the car, wherever we're at, gotta do
No, it's an
Toxic
awesome
Waltz,
song.
right?
It's super silly, and Zetra wrote most of the lyrics to that. I wrote the last
Yeah.
verse. The title came because I was sitting around like one morning after being up all night partying with my late friend Jimmy Lappin, and I was doing the San Francisco Chronicle crossword, and I said I needed a 5-letter word for the blank waltz, and without hesitating, he goes toxic. Like there it is. So like, all right, we're gonna write a song about the pit, and Zetra wrote the verses and the chorus, and I wrote the last verse with the infamous mispronunciation of athlete, which I still to this day
Athlete.
I'll with a straight face say no, the rest of the world is wrong. The word is athlete.
which is three syllables, people.
Yeah, no, I'm right. Everyone else is wrong.
That's really good. It was, it
But
was,
Zach wrote like a crushing killer hook for the chorus, and and it's a silly song. People fucking love it, like,
I think
and
it helped you at the time
it's
too, to give you guys the attention, elevate you guys over some other bands.
yeah, we stopped playing it for a while too because I felt it was not serious enough. And then now, it'll always be in the set, like it's okay to have fun, Gary. Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't have to, every song doesn't have to be fucking black metal serious.
it's a good song. It's good that you're playing that. It's always great to see you guys. You guys because always will do like it's always like a thrash bill or a triple bill, or it's always good solid lineups when you guys do it. You know what I mean? It seems like a
Yeah.
lot of thrash bands have always done that, stuck together, whether it be Slayer or Testament or Exodus. You guys always, you know.
Well, we're all, old friends and veterans, so it always makes for
But
good.
not a lot of bands do that. A lot of the bands now from other genres, like rock genres, are doing packages. It probably started around the grunge time, but thrash bands have always packaged together in my eyes, in the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
it's growing in the States. In Europe, we used to do these tours with like 10 different bands, and you'd have Exodus and death metal bands and symphonic metal bands and everybody on the same bill. And the shows were fucking great. And I was like, why can't we pull that off in America? It's always got to be one thing.
It would be nice to have the mix. I think I just thought this, I haven't thought so a long time. I saw Slayer do a show, and it was like an opera house. I remember going in, it was all the red velvet and everything. It was all just metal fans. It was like back in like I don't know, late 80s, 90s. It was all red
Yeah.
velvet. This whole opera house was just all metal fans in there, and just Slayer. It was the weirdest thing. I can't imagine them just like sweating on like going, "Oh guys, don't ruin this place, don't burn it down," because it was just such a nice place. I
Yeah.
forgot that was so crazy. But part of that is no one is very one-sided in American metal. Like you can't only play certain clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
not as
growing though.
open.
People are more open now to seeing different stuff. And you sell people short. It's easy to sell people short that an Exodus fan might like Epica. They do. People not necessarily are all only like one kind of metal, just like I don't like all just one kind of music. Like it's okay. Like
Is it
what
a
you
challenge
like.
now?
What's
Is it
that?
more of a, is it a challenge now because like from coming back from COVID, a lot of bands were doing really good coming back because the fans were hungry. What about you guys coming back and playing and touring?
Well, I
How
mean,
is
like any band, we're a traveling pop-up store. We
right?
depend on merchandise to even come out ahead on a tour. And but yeah, it's a bit the tour we just did was like one of the best headlining tours we ever done since the heyday. It was fucking
Hmm.
great. It was really good. And strong package, they'll come.
Is it harder preparing for the tour now at this point? As we were saying before,
No,
like
we
physically
barely
getting ready.
rehearse at all.
That's the
I do
attitude.
my homework, I do my homework. We all do. And then we get together and bust bust it out.
I just mean physically, just trying to get up the motivation to be like, oh my God, that's a full night. That's a lot of energy you put out. You know,
No, that's
at,
the
at
easy
any age.
part. The hard part is
Really?
just sitting around and waiting all day.
It's not hard after the show you guys perform the next day, getting up. I can imagine it being like, oh, I can't get up. I'm too sore.
No, I have
Like
a
that's a
I have a strict regimen I stick to every day. Like I eat at the same time. I take a short, like 45-minute nap at the same time. I play,
oh,
eat,
really?
and then watch 90 Day Fiance and shit. Like, but it keeps me in a pattern and to where
Right.
you're in your optimum space for the show itself. Otherwise you end up like, oh wow, I shouldn't have did that today because I'm real tired now when the show's starting.
Is it a challenge now? Because like Slayer was over. I have a couple questions left for you. I appreciate this time. With Slayer being over and then coming back to a couple things, Carrie's committed to his band, as he said. So obviously everyone wants to go back and play some Slayer shows. It's good for the fans. It's fun. You guys are friends. It's also good catch. Is it hard for you to plan knowing that if Slayer has something else? You know what I mean?
Is it harder to play what?
Is it harder for you to plan like if you want to do a tour? Is there going to be another Slayer show? Is there going to be like is that in the back of your mind now? Because you're like, oh, if I get that call,
No,
I want to be
because
available.
Exodus is my priority, and as of now, nothing has interfered in any way with Exodus. So And it's fun. The fans get to see the band again, and yet I get to do this, what I should be doing. And Carrie's has his own band, and Tom gets to come back out and play, and obviously Paul's in Tom's band, Carrie's band. So
Right.
it's working out great for everybody. We're super happy. And the shows we did, we were really good. We did not suck. We were fucking great. But we worked really hard to prepare.
To get there.
We rehearsed our asses off. Yeah.
How much rehearsal? Because you guys hadn't played for a while.
Weeks straight, hours a day.
Really?
I did my homework for months. Just to relearn everything. So I showed up prepared and ready to go. In the 10-year run with Slayer, before the end, I didn't rehearse for like the last 7 years. Never.
Because you knew it so well.
I did my homework. I practiced by myself, along with the record. Carrie and Paul would practice, and I played as much to Carrie as anybody, to his guitar playing. I followed, locked in with him. So, as long as I did my homework at home, I was ready to go.
When I heard that was happening, I was like, I could see it happening. I was like, but the only one who hasn't been playing out was Tom. I'm like, and he screamed that he does are amazing. I'm like, I know you were doing stuff. Carrie's playing. You guys, everyone, Paul's playing, keeping your chops up. I'm like, what's Tom been doing to keep his voice up? That's a lot.
He fucking was great.
I know that, but I'm saying to keep that up, to not doing it, not practice all the time, playing out. That's what it's like.
He's born with it. He's born with that shit, so it's in him already.
I think it's great. I hope that, I think the balance is perfect. I hope that you can still do a lot more Exodus now, and the Slayer shows kind of trickle out every now and then. It's just at the end of. I hate the idea of a band ending. Period. Cool, you know what I mean?
Exodus is keeping me busy. That's for damn sure. Maybe one of these days I might have my first vacation of my life.
Ooh,
I've never had one. I've never had one that didn't require a guitar in my hand to go.
A working vacation.
I've never left the guitar behind and gone to some cool location. Never. Not once in my fucking life. Fucking work. I'm a workaholic.
You might want to plan on something coming up. You're 60,
I've got a lot of frequent flyer miles. I could do it, but then I got a tour coming up. I got this coming up. I got that.
You got to plan it in. Let's just talk about the album as we get to the end of this for people. What are we looking at? A date? Heavier album?
Next year. We were going to try to put it out this fall, but we needed more time for the songwriting. But it's like, so we're going in the studio here in just like a couple of weeks. But by the time we finish the record, we'd have to have it mixed and turned in within 2 more, and that's just rushing it hard.
So is there a change because of where you're at now and getting an album out? Is like, oh, you got to get it out for the third quarter in time for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Or like at this point, they're like, you guys are just Exodus and you do it when you do it. Because there's a certain point where bands are always running when you're younger. You're at a point now where you just kind of you're just walking in and doing like what you do. Because you love doing what you do.
Yeah, we're just working away, the album be done when it's done. We're not going to rush it. Last album was fucking phenomenal. Yeah. And so, I'm always trying to top the last one, and this one's got to be fucking as good or better than Persona, which I ranked number 2 as it's my second favorite Exodus album behind Bonded by Blood.
It's heavy.
It's fucking great. We worked real hard on it. Pandemic, we had nothing but time. Thank you, man. Sorry for being late.
It's okay.
All right.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.